Please state your names.
Kate Zidar.
Stephen Oliveira, Youth Ministries for Peace and Justice.
Dave Byer.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth today?
I affirm.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much for being here and being with us earlier today. And I'll call upon Kate to go first. Do you have written testimony, Kate?
I do. It's with the...
Oh, it's coming around? Okay.
It's, and essentially, I would just like to state that, at this stage in the in the hearing, I have the benefit of reacting to previous testimony, and will basically let you read.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Sure.
My writing at your leisure. You've seen it all before. Essentially, the SWIM coalition that you've heard about so much. Kate Zidar, SWIM coalition.
Yeah. Oh, she did. She did. Kate Zidar. She did. Okay.
All right. Our platform at SWIM falls right in line with these introductions, and we fully support them. The points in particular on our platform: effective public notification, a transparent planning process, meaningful public participation, government reform in terms of massaging the existing land use and planning procedures to insert BMPs wherever we possibly can, in addition to creating new ones, multi-agency cooperation, a collaborative approach. You in particular, your committee are familiar with what we're about. And I suppose just, to go immediately off script, I've heard a lot today and I'd like to react, hopefully in a calm and collected manner. The thing about the SWIM coalition is that we will be here in the next administration. We are not here for a political timeline. We're here based on missions from our organizations, based out of scientific interest, based out of interest in our own communities, and so we approach things very differently than the city, just in general. And so, our goal, first of all, our goal that you've heard about is ambitious in relation to the other goals set by the long-term control plan and, mandated in the long-term control plan and set by Plan NYC. Our goal, although locally it might seem ambitious, it's really 30 years old, same old Clean Water Act that we've been hearing about forever, and so I guess I just kind of want to maybe introduce folks here to the way we approach things. What I heard today from in regards to New York City not being like any other place, culturally, historically, that might be true, but if you're a raindrop and you fall in a building, you don't care if you're in New York City or if you're in Pittsburgh or if you're in Chicago or if you're in any other place in the world. There are certain things that can be learned from case studies in other places. There are also things that can be learned from things that are happening here today without incentives, without the benefit of citywide funding, without citywide support and being on a citywide scale. And those things, I think, in particular, the local BMPs that have been implemented by SWIM Coalition members and by other organizations, by gardeners, by people in their backyards that we don't know about yet. That's a really valuable storehouse of information, and that's what, in forming a coalition, that's what we're interested in and shaking from the trees. In terms of case studies, let me find what I've just been kind of scribbling furiously, and I'll try to be brief. In terms of case studies, what we can learn. From Philadelphia, it was mentioned, vacant land is being used for stormwater management. While population loss is not a characteristic of New York City, it doesn't mean we don't have vacant land. And it doesn't mean that our open spaces can't be shaped the way that the vacant land quite frankly, many vacant spaces in Philadelphia are being managed in terms of stormwater management better than our open spaces here in New York City that fall under a natural resource management agency. So I find that striking. Also, the Philadelphia green projects, they give us a valuable, very, very valuable case of partnership between a horticultural society, a botanical garden, if you will. We have a botanic garden in every borough except for Manhattan, but we do have a horticultural society. Partnership between the water division, the technical water keepers, and the privately funded, basically, Botanic World. Rust Belt cities with ambitious BMP projects have happened with bankrupt budgets. I think that that's a valuable lesson to learn. How can Pittsburgh be doing amazing water quality work, in the financial conditions that it's been in for the last 30 years? I think we can learn something about cost effectiveness there. And yes, we do have diverse soil types. There are specific conditions on the ground, but with a little bit of education, this is gardening, I mean, a lot of people are interested in it. I know in my neighborhood in Greenpoint, there are Polish women who are growing cucumbers in their backyards, making pickles and selling them in delis. And so, this kind of information about soil quality, about water quality, this is something that people can grasp. This is also something that people can benefit from. People are looking to use natural resources in New York City. Just because you move to a city doesn't mean that you become completely disconnected from the planet. People are fishing. People are growing their own food, and in coming back to my home organization at Youth Ministries for Peace and Justice, a lot of these environmental issues are social justice issues. These are basic human rights, to be able to feed one's family and to live in a city that doesn't make you sick, or to maybe to swim in water and have your children swim in water that doesn't make them sick and they don't get an asthma attack in the middle of it. Just the last thing I'd like to talk about, because it is kind of a pet issue of mine, is the public notification point. If we are not able to solve these problems immediately, and at the same time we are gentrifying our neighborhoods, our waterfront neighborhoods, we're putting up tons of housing right on the waterfront, we're opening up access. If these two things are happening if that is all happening while we are not solving the problem at a clip, we need public notification. Not only is it federally required, but we need it. And public notification of the location and occurrence of a CSO event is not communicated to me by a green sign facing out on a bulkhead that reads a speedies permit and says nothing of sewage, says nothing of be careful, that says nothing in Spanish, that says nothing in any other language but legalese. And to me, that has been a longstanding failure of the city to provide the basic public health protection that is mandated. So I didn't read anything, but SWIM, and I appreciate the opportunity, especially to respond to some of the things that have been said today. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Kate. Please.
Tons of housing.